Hey, we should be live. Thank you so much for being here. Let me just make sure it all looks good on my end. And thank you so much. Today's going to be after 2 weeks of painting streams. Today's just going to be chatting, but I do have a lot of things interesting. Okay, audio is great. I do have a lot of interesting paintings to share with you, a lot of work in progress, and a lot of things I'm kind of planning out. So hopefully, it will be an enjoyable one. There will be educational value for sure. I want to share with you a couple of things in the making that I haven't really talked about at all. So, thank you for being here. And this is your opportunity to ask any questions you might have. Whatever it is, that you think I can help with, this is your chance. So let's get to it. Actually, I'm going to present. I'm going to open up my screen. Hey, Tiny Face Beggy, how are you doing? Thank you so much for the amazing detailed critique. Are you going to be continuing with critiques? If yes, then do we just look out for an email or can we buy it on your website? Thank you so much. Yes, so I started doing painting critiques. Personally, you send me a bunch of paintings, I give you critique on them. I started in a kind of limited format, so just every month I'm opening 10 slots. To just to limit to make sure I can devote enough time for it. It looks like it's going well and I'm getting the hang of it. So it's just going to be unlimited, my friend, and everyone else who's interested. I'm just gonna occasionally I'm gonna send an email about it, but you can just go to the website and get it. I'll put a link maybe more prominently on YouTube or somewhere. But if you're in any of the, if you ever purchased a course from me in the past, you will get emails about it at least on a monthly basis. So yes, and thank you for getting it. And your paintings are really cool. I really enjoy them. They're really good. I would love seeing where they develop in what direction. And thank you for being here. Hey, John, hope you're doing well too. Thank you for being here. Tembo Artwork, hey, how are you doing? It's been a while. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I just noticed someone's doing like this in the picture, which is funny. Jagjit Singh, hey, how are you? I'm doing well. Thank you so much. It's been a long week, long and tiring week. I use my Thursday basically to rest. So my rest is hanging out here with you. So thank you so much. Hey Joshua, Saunders Watercolor Paper says hi. Hey Saunders, Joshua, how are you doing? That always makes me laugh. Thank you so much. I wonder if I'll ever get a viewer called Arsh or Hanemule. That'll be funny too. Uzi, hey, how are you doing? Oh, I like this picture. I like pixel art. So let me share with you. I'm gonna share my window. So this is a painting I shared on Instagram, and you have probably seen it. I really like the way this came out. You know how you have group chats with friends sometimes on WhatsApp? There's a chat that I check in like twice a day because I'm too busy. But there's something funny going on there. My friend kind of said, "Read it. It's hilarious." So I'll probably take a look after the stream. It's just funny because I saw the message pop up. This one, many stars out. I posted it on Instagram, but this was a really fun one and unique painting for me to work on. I don't paint many of these kinds of paintings. In fact, if I just do this for a second, I think you'll be able to better see it here. Let me test this out. There we go. It's going to be over my face, but that's fine. If I do this, here I am. Okay, that's good. So, and I have a couple of zoom ins too, just for fun. But the one thing that was important for me to achieve with this painting, and I'm going to tell you why I'm sharing it with you specifically now. The one thing that was important for me is the colors. Sometimes with night scenes, it's so dark that you're running the risk of just reaching out to the black colors and neutralizing. But here I was able to maintain the kind of color scheme I wanted. If you'll notice, and let me share this again. I'm just going to do this. If you'll notice, I don't know why I'm all over the place. If you notice, it's a very kind of violet yellow, which is nice, kind of complementary colors. You get the warms and cools, they neutralize each other, and it's a fun scheme. But I think it really conveys the sense of a night sky when the stars are starting to come out. I don't know. I really like the way this one came out. Of course, I'm biased. It's my own painting. Same for these puddles. It's one of these things I've wanted to tackle for a while now. There are some really great artists on Instagram that do these paint puddles this way that I really enjoy. Hey, Pokey Earth, how are you doing? Thank you for being here. By the way, do you play Pokemon TCG Pocket, the new, relatively new TCG? I really have been enjoying it. It's my one thing I do on my short downtime. Dwayne, hey, how are you doing? Yeah, I'm happy to be here for you when you start your day. This is great. So let me show you something fun. So this is the finished version, and this is mid work, right? And when you're in the process, it looks really different, right? So I think it's fun to alternate between the two and kind of see what the differences are. I don't know. I enjoy that kind of a thing. Now, the reason I share this painting with you is it poses a lot of new challenges for me. So just to show you how I'm trying a lot of different things that I'm not used to, and it does lead to weird results, right? Now, good results too, but like a lot of it is stuff I'm not used to, and compared to something I feel very established in, it's more of a challenging one. So you see the difference between these two stages. At this stage, you might feel lost and you're like, I don't know where I'm taking this. Maybe there isn't enough clarity. That's where a lot of people just get stuck. But if you push it a bit, you push the darks, you add maybe a couple of highlights you lost. Look at the puddles here, right? Most of them aren't here and it's not dark enough. And then you go, boom, one more step again, boom, one more step, boom, one more step, and to the beat. You get this, you get something that works. Sometimes it's about adding another layer. Thank you, my friend, much appreciated. The cloud is where I started it, actually. I'll show you in a second the first wash. Thank you so much, Pangilinan Miguel. I never know if I should read both first and last name, or if it's a nickname, if it's multiple words. Sometimes I default to just one of the words and then I feel lazy. So yeah, if I go back, another one, this is the first wash. And I actually started it with the cloud. So this, when you see this kind of a thing, you're like, okay, I'm going to mix enough gray paint. You have no idea how dark the paint I put here was. And it just dried lighter because there was a lot of water on paper. I didn't do wet in wet. I just started painting this shape of the cloud with very wet water, and then I kept doing more and more wet and wet into it, and it took a lot of like continuous work. And then I had this loose edge here and I painted the sky. That was another challenge in and of itself. There was actually 2 layers on the sky. This is the first layer, but then I added another one. You can see a bit of the difference, right? I added another violet layer. So this was a very challenging part of the wash, but the most challenging one was adding everything, ground down. When you do night scenes or you do overcast scenes, there tends to be like sky light, ground dark. Go figure what's going on in the darks. And hey, Les is smilingly trying. Thank you for being here. Much appreciated. Jennifer, hey, how are you doing? I love how everyone says where they're from. It teaches me a lot about states and abbreviations. That's funny. So yeah, so we were here. First wash. And then as soon as I got to this bit, I'm like, okay, I'll just establish the general colors. There's a bit of warmth here. There's a bit of violet-y coolness here. And that's what I've done. And then you can deal with the rest. But sometimes I'll just, there's a part that's challenging. I'll just tackle that, not worry about the next bit. So I just worried about the sky. As soon as I got the sky, this is kind of for later. You can always just put a really thin wash, save it for later. Woozy, is this painting from a photo or real life? It's a photo that I took a long time ago. Must have been a year and a half ago. Well, it's actually not that long, but it feels like a long time ago. About a year and a half ago, I think. And I really liked it. It's funny. It's a funny story. It's 2 pictures. One, there's a person here, so I wanted to remove them. So I used the 2 pictures, opened it in Photoshop, and edited it to remove them. Basically, because I had one picture where they're here on the left, and then one picture where in the center. And it was at a bit of a different angle, so it took a little bit of manipulation. but I ended up managing to remove the person and just have this. I wouldn't mind having the person if they were a little more to this side, but they block the cars. So yes, it is from a photo I took a while ago. And I always have go-to photos. I always, and you know what? Some mornings I wake up and I get this feeling. Today there is a photo that I feel like I'll enjoy painting, and it just often happens. I don't know why and how that occurs. I just realized now that I can probably zoom in a bit. Camera settings, zoom in a bit. Can I zoom in? Yes, there we go. Oh wait, I can just do this. Maybe zoom in a bit more. Maybe move a bit to the side. This is really neat. The Logitech controls. There we go. That's better. So yeah, because I'm gonna be minimized here for most of this stream. So yeah, I always have a go-to pictures, and I wake up some mornings and I know I'm in the mood to paint one of them. I often don't remember which one it was, but once I open my folders, I can find it. I did this video showing how many folders I have of reference photos. It's crazy. More is always better when it comes to painting options. So yeah, this is the first one, and I can show you a couple of other cool stuff. I actually have them all queued here. Let me see what you're saying. Les, love your work. I finally made it through my first 3 wash painting and I don't even hate it. Thanks for all the encouragement. Awesome. Yeah, I always say, paint your way, make your own mistakes, and you'll also make your own victories, and you'll enjoy what you're doing more rather than just following someone else. If you can follow, by the way, someone else's tutorial and still paint it your way, right? But when it's yours and it's organic, it's just more fun. I'm going to talk about it on Saturday's video. I think you'll find it useful. Henny, keeping those sky colors from getting muddy is a real skill. Yeah, I used something fun for that. I used a gouache paint, something similar to titanium white. I think titanium white. You can see it on my palette here. So check it out. It's this color. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Let me go full screen for a second. So check it out. You see this little thing here? It's an opaque kind of warm peachy pink color. It's similar to John Brilliant by Shinhan PwC, but what it does, so it's a warm white. What it does is it prevents the green, right? And I have done a video on how to avoid green in your skies, and one of those tricks was to use an opaque white color. You could also just put water in here, or you could use your third primary color. So you have blue, you have yellow, you include a bit of red in this mix to make it gray. That's often how these things end up looking good. This is something I'm proud of too. You probably can't tell it's a cloud. It may look like a mountain ridge, but it's actually a cloud. So I like that bit as well. And we can zoom in a bit. I'll show you some of the details. Thank you, Uzi. Good morning, Laura. Hope you're doing well. Hey, Josephine. Wow, I haven't been awake for a live in ages. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. And your support. Thank you so much. By the way, Ruth is here. You want to see her? You want to see Ruth? Because she always likes running away. There she is. If I address her too much in a stream, she tends to run away. So yeah, Ruth is doing well. She's almost 9 years old, and you can feel it that it's sad. She still loves playing. She acts like a puppy often, just less often than usual. But yep, the reality of life. Everyone grows old. Now, if we zoom in a bit, you can see here the background. I used Lunar Black by Daniel Smith, tons of granulations. Again, whether you like it or not, I'm kind of playing around with it. I'll probably default back to neutral tint unless I do want to specifically achieve some of these granulations, because they're too much, right? I think they're too much for everything, right? I would put them just in select spots or in specific processes that call for it. Something like Nicolas Lopez paints with a lot of granulating colors. It's just black and white, and it just fits his style. One thing I'm extra proud of is these little wires. You have no idea how careful it was like surgery. I was like, carefully ghosting above where I'm going to place them until with a very light touch. I placed them in. Those were quite challenging, and I think it adds an interesting structure to the scene. It doesn't take away from its beauty. Same for this car. This was quite a challenge getting these lights on the side to make sense. These two cars were surprisingly easy. These headlights were surprisingly easy. Just opaque paint. This is way too yellow. I went quite yellow there, but I don't know. I think it's a decent result. It's a good result, especially for a scene that is a bit different, a bit more challenging. Night. But yeah, Gloria. Oh, she's so cute. Yes, she is. She's adorable. Jennifer, I would love to see your little human. Congratulations. A girl almost 9 months old. She was here in two previous live streams, so you can go back and look and see. Dwayne, what style brush did you use for the wires? I'll show you the specific one. Give me a moment. I'll scooch. I used this one. I used this one. This is my favorite one for these. This is a Lebenson brush. It's a thin one. I'm not sure which exact one it is, and you can go to freewatercolor.com/gear. I have a link down below, I believe. Free Watercolor, just like the website of the courses.com/gear. And you'll have a link to Lebenson paintbrushes there, or you can just type Lebenson paintbrushes. I do detail some of my favorite ones. This one, it's just such a nice little rigger. Let me do this. And it's really useful because it does have a nice capacity, and I find it when the edge is longer, you can get these straight lines a lot easier. So I highly would recommend you get that. It's based on the sable length, so I would say that's about a 1/2 inch. And it's one of the thin ones. You see, it has this orange hairs. You'll have to look at the website. It was orangey yellow hairs from the beginning. This is not color. This is not paint, because some of them are white. This was not. So this would be the brush. Dwayne, you can message me or email me later if you want me to tell you the specific one. I can go over the catalog and tell you exactly which one it is. And if you buy from everyone, not just Dwayne, if you buy from there, you can use the coupon code. I believe it's Liron to get a discount. Jan's art, hi Liron. Always good to see you live. Thank you so much. Muchacho DT, very fresh style, simple and smooth. I like it. Yeah, that has been also a big goal for this, because it's so easy to overwork when you have these darker scenes. It can be a mess. So a light touch is sometimes needed. Even for these trees, you see how I just go lighter, even cooler too. Like this is warmer, right? This I just thought would be fun to hint that the sun is setting through here, though doesn't really, in the picture, they're all kind of gray. But yeah, a light touch. And then this, and then that. Look at how uneven the lunar black is in these first washes. So let's move on to the next one. So I did want to share this one, just final kind of version, show it to you a little up close. I have shown you, obviously, how to paint this. Would love to hear some of your thoughts and if the video was useful, because it was over an hour long, one of my longest videos. I have everything here. I have water, I have coffee. So we're well equipped. So yeah, this painting was a real journey. And if you see, I actually have, yeah, there we go. So this was the first wash, and you can very visibly see my brush marks here, which I absolutely love. I don't mind that. It looks good. All I care about was that I do manage to get somewhat of a smooth change from yellowy, warm to the black. And then I lifted, you can see this, and you can see it in the video too. Again, there's a full video of this process in case you missed those. I lifted these, and it's hot press paper, so it's easier to lift. I lifted some of these lights, This isn't meant to be final. It's kind of the preparation. I know it's kind of lame. But yeah, all of these little lights, these tail lights. And I love the stormy look. To me, it's a fun part of what it is. And there was a big messy section in the middle where I was kind of searching for the shapes. But we ended up managing to pull this one together, and things do make sense. When you look at it on first impression, it just looks the details look like what they should look like. There's a lot of interesting nuances here that I talk about in the video, but we can really zoom in. Like the orange is really important in the taillights. I find that it completes the reds very often. It's just necessary. Not to mention the fact that many cars do have orange in their lights in general, but taillights especially. So I find that this orange really tells the full story. Same here. You see, this is opaque orange over opaque white that was done wet in wet over red. You see, the strong red bits, that, that's very common. People understand by now that it has a strong impression now, but I think these orange touches are really cool. And there's a lot of smart things, not because I'm smart, just because I worked this scene to death and I tried it so many times. There are a couple of really smart things here. Like, for example, look at how the glass, the back of the car is completely hinted at, right? You can't even see it. And I think it adds a lot to the story. So here, everything is very rigid and kind of sharp, right? Sharp edges everywhere. But when you zoom out a bit, there are actually two big sources of smoothness. And this is one of them, right? And this is another one of them. And by the way, this isn't the first wash, what you're seeing, right? This is not the same wash. I've gone over it with a lot of paint and a lot of water and a lot of black and red and yellows. I made these shapes stronger. So this was quite clever. I poured in tons of red here. And then I did wet and wet with black over the red. Now the red was more opaque, so it looks like we're seeing the car through the red haze of lights, which was exactly what I was looking for. So I got a little lucky there too, but it was exactly what I was looking for. A painting is just an illusion, right? This is just a combination of shapes. The tricky bit is having a vision and seeing the shapes you want to paint, right? And then within this slightly dark area, you have these lights that are just the pure red out of the tube that reads or translates as lighter than the glass or the back of the car. So there's a lot of like mini important things going on here. All of these reflections on the side of the car, they tell the story because everything is in its place. You have some highlights. You have the reflections, which I didn't even know what I was painting. I painted it, and only then I realized it's reflections of like lights from another car. It's just painting the colors as I saw them. So the blue and the red is really important. But look at this separation here, right? If you really zoom in, that's the doors, obviously. It's important. All of these things tell the story, right? This highlight here. And then this, just the hood of our car. Such a mess, who knows what this is, but from afar it makes sense. So I think the more complex and abstract shapey a scene is to begin with, the more you might run into a really messy midsection. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be harder to paint. That's the thing that I think is important to understand. It might just mean there will be more to deal with and more processes to go through, but it's not necessarily harder. What is hard is, even though you're not seeing it, to continue seeing your vision and to continue trying to push it to your vision. That's the thing. So it's somewhat psychologically challenging, but it's also practically challenging because you still don't see the vision and you have to keep doing things until you actually see it. So yeah, these are some of my thoughts on this. And again, this wash, there's a hair from the brush too that I removed later on. You can see how I sketched the highlights too, just to show where the general details are. At this point, I was quite lucky with the first wash. It gave me a lot of inspiration to move on to the next one. Yes, I love those. I just tried to do a painting with a wheat field with an old school windmill, very similar to the power lines. Cool. Yeah, and when you have a wheat field, there's a lot of small kind of abstract details too. That's where I find granulations to work really well. And I started to really enjoy doing these kinds of scenes where there's a section that's just full of a lot of details, and I use textures, and I use wet and wet, and I use opaque paint, and all of these means to bring out grass blades and the wheat and the little parts that are lighter and the flowers, whatever is there. A master of this, sorry for the ambulance, a master of this is Joseph Zbukvich. His outdoors scenes are so good. The way he captures the grass blades without overworking, right? which is a big asterisk, 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 asterisk. I think it's asterisk. It's risk at the end, I think. Asterix is the comic, the French comic. I like it too. Woozy. So yeah, I'm happy you got a result you're pleased with. This is great. Woozy, love this painting. Thank you so much. Dwayne, great painting and video. Thank you. Yeah, it was like a hefty video, a tome of a video. And you say this was the first video you saw of mine. That's crazy. That's amazing. Yeah, so not all of them are this long of videos. Usually it's like 10 to 20 minutes. I felt like going a little crazy. Saturday's video is going to be around 24 minutes. And it's actually the next painting, so we can hop onto that as we chat. Thank you, Dwayne. Yeah, the reflections were here specifically a really big part of it. Tiny Face McGee, I tried to paint a pickup truck. Do you mentally make a box of width and height and put it in perspective? What's your top tip to get car proportions right? Sometimes I trace. Sometimes I'll look at I'll think of it in terms of a box, and then I'll figure out at what angle do I cut the corner of the box to get this down, right? So I'll think about height versus width. So maybe it's 1/1.5 proportions wise, and you can measure that with your finger, with your pencil, whatever it is. And then where on this line I'm going to cut this corner off, and where am I going to cut this corner off? That's a great way of doing it, actually. This car honestly doesn't need any measurement. It's just a box, and then it's just a square. And then from that square, you tilt this part. So what you'll notice is, imagine this was a perfect trapezoid. You grab this top part and you move it to the right. You just move it to the right so that this line is at a larger angle right here than this line, than this meeting point. This corner is a wider angle than that corner because you moved it to the right. So it's just like a bit of a tilt. You have this and you tilt it to the side. Sometimes once you have a bit of experience, you're able to do a lot of these things, and it's quite easy. By the way, I like this area too, the two cars. So let's see. Hey, Flubby Bobby, how are you doing? It's been a while. Henny, what's your current fave sketchbook plein air book? You know, I don't really have a favorite. I do have one where I did, let me show you. I did a couple of plein air work in it. Where's my backpack? Let me get it. There it is. Sorry for the dead air. Here we go. So I've been playing around with this sketcher sketchbook. Nothing too serious. I don't. Again, I wish I've been doing more plein airs, but it's the one I have shared on Instagram. Some experiments. So these little plein air attempts. We have these two, which are fun. Wait a second. Where am I? There we go. So this is just the side of a car and more cars. It's just the most accessible painting subject. And I think that's it for now. Yeah, I did one session with this one. So this is the etcher. Let's see if there's an actual name to it. I'm not sure, but it does have this little pocket here, you know, that they often like putting. They did send this one to me to try it out. I have a lot of etcher stuff. I just don't do enough plein air to be using a lot of them. So this was a good one. I still think Canson Montval is one of the best, like paper-wise, but this was actually the same quality. It's pulp paper. It's really good. Dare I say this is a little better. I got more even drying on this, and it is pulp. It's not. I don't think it's cotton. You know what? It might just be cotton. Huh. Might be cotton paper. Maybe things have improved since the last time I used to go out more plein air. You know, I'm not sure. I don't want to say, but yeah, it's a good quality. It's really horizontally oriented. Do Brits say orientated? Is that a thing? I keep hearing orientated from Brits. T Sketches, hey, how are you? Love the profile pic as always. Hope you're well too. I'm just tired. But other than that, I'm fine. Flobby Bobby, welcome again. Mr. Joe, sometimes I find it easier to turn the source upside down so I draw what's there instead of what I think it is. This is a brilliant trick. And actually, it's a good reminder. I'll try it soon. Especially for very confusing scenes. It's with lots of I like abstract shapes like this one, lots of them, but sometimes it makes it a lot easier to rotate. You're right. And then kind of paint the things as mirroring the painting, mirroring the reference photo. All of these things help to kind of see mistakes, see things more clearly. It's like breaking your pattern, which is good actually. Trish, what is the name of the black you used? I struggle getting my colors dark enough at times. Thank you. Love your work. Yeah, one tip I can give you is if you're using tubes, just use it straight out of the tube. Like, don't let it dry on the palette. Squeeze a little bit of paint. Use it while it's wet. It will be much easier to get a dark color. Now, if any black color you get should work, I like Neutral Tint the most by Daniel Smith. This is Lunar Black. What you see here is also Lunar Black. You can see with the granulations, which is good. It gets dark. Neutral Tint gets dark easier. So I would go with that if I had the options. Arthur, I'm not going to paint today, unfortunately. If you haven't watched the 2 last live streams, I assume you might have because you're asking about the painting specifically. Then be sure to check those out. It's good processes, I think. One of them is a big struggle, but today is just fun chat. The more tiring the week has been, the more likely I'm just gonna celebrate it with a chat. So yeah, no. Sometimes though, sometimes I'm dead tired and I'm still gonna do a painting stream. So yeah, and good morning to yourself. It is now actually 3:30 p.m. here, so no longer morning. Everyone, most people here are more fresh than me, though we do have some people who now it's evening for them. A lot of people from India now it's evening, night. It's bedtime soon. Les, it was worth every minute. I really learned a lot from you. Thank you. I haven't tried anything too complicated, but I learned how to paint with live bead. Not very good at it yet, but learning. Yeah. And I think the bead, there's like a bead 2.0 now, whereas it's just being aware of how wet an area is. Because what I found is I won't always work at an angle and have the benefit of the bead. Very often I do need to work flat or at a small angle. So I do like to just focus on one area at a time and make sure that is wet enough. And in the video, by the way, in this long video of the car's highway, I do tilt the paper in the beginning and you can see how wet it is. So yeah. Mark, what paper is this? So I'm using mostly, I don't know if you refer to the sketchbook. If you do refer to the sketchbook, it does feel a little cottony. It's a sketchbook by Etcher. They're very well known. ETCHR, I think. No other E. It's Etcher. So it's a good one. Yes. Oh, yeah. I see now. I don't know why sometimes I see the comments delayed, but yeah. Etcher, thanks. I do see all the next comments. I don't know why this one slipped past me. But yeah. And for most of my paintings, I do have a streak of hot press. This is hot press. This is a hot press. This is hot press too, but usually I like cold press. Laura, have you decided to pick your top 10 paintings of 2024? Did we miss the top 10? Top 9 maybe for Instagram? I don't remember. Did I not do a top 9 post? I really don't remember. But yeah, I could do that. That could be a fun little vid. It'll be hard to there will be a few that are very simple to choose, but then there will be a fierce competition for the latter 5. Like the first 5 spots, yes, but then after that, it's going to be a challenge, but I can definitely do that. I'll write it down so that I don't forget. I actually have, I already have a handy text document. I think it's interesting to see also because there is a lot of trends in how I do things. So things have changed for me, and maybe there's something educational about that, I find that I'm trying out new things, and you'll see in a second. I'm trying out a new, completely different technique of painting, and it leads to messier results and really even bad results at times. But in any case, yeah, this is Saturday's video is going to be this, yet another car. Sorry. I'll go back to some still life and landscape soon. There will be a landscape too in a moment here as well. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to try it out. What I like most about this is just you paint all of these small fragmented abstract details and somehow it works out and somehow it connects. This, by the way, is from the scanner. I have this red spot there I need to clean from paint. It's funny. It's not a part of the painting. I believe it's not a part of the painting because I've seen it in another one. Jacqueline, hey, how are you doing? Good morning. Just finished feeding all my dogs and cats. Took 30 minutes. Wow. Sorry, missed the beginning. Yeah, no worries. They have to eat, you know. Ruth loves food. She gets her what is it like? She gets her supplement today. I put it in like a cardboard piece of paper, and then she rips through it, and she has a good time. So yeah, it's her treat. Arthur, Liron, do you think it's possible to paint watercolor in not cotton paper and get some good results? Yeah, definitely, it is possible. You have to work differently. You have to do things a little more directly, I find, depending on how good or bad the non-cotton paper is. Some cotton papers are better than others. You won't be able to layer a lot, but you will be able to do wet and wet. You will probably need to keep it really wet like hot press paper, where if you don't, it's going to dry very unevenly, but you could definitely work around it. What I would do, honestly, cotton paper does cost a lot, but it can be a good investment. So if you can get large sheets for a decent price, I just get that and cut them into 4s maybe, or 8s. I used to cut them into 8 pieces, maybe even 16 pieces if I'm doing just small demos on YouTube, and just use them maybe after you've studied a scene a bit and then use them. I would use them for everything from the beginning. I kind of splurged right from the beginning, even when I was barely making anything. But yeah, thinking about it, I bought the thick, I believe it was Arch, the 600 grams paper back when I like didn't know what I was doing. So it's crazy, and I haven't used it for years now. So yeah, that was kind of wasted on past Liron. Landscape portrait orientation. I forgot the context, but it's fine. Oh yeah, it's very landscape oriented. Laura, I don't remember seeing it on IG. Yes, it will be interesting. Okay, cool. I can definitely do that and kind of talk a bit more about them in this format, but maybe shorter, more compact. Art, play, breathe. If you can't decide on 10, you can do top 5 and as many honorable mentions as you like. Yeah, definitely. Or I can do like top 20, but maybe that'll be hard to fill. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'll do that. If people are interested, I'll do that. Jacqueline, our Ruth is precious. My animals all eat different foods. Yeah, it makes sense. So it takes time to get it all ready. And I give an allergy pill to the Yorkie. Yeah, Yorkies, they have allergies, right? It's a thing. Here's Ruth once again. Sleeping. She doesn't sit much in the studio lately. She's in the living room, so I'm happy. I feel blessed to have her here. Just look at the little belly. Goes up and down. It's so cute. We feed Ruth a combination of natural food and dry food. Dry food just because I'm a coward to go all in just yet. I'm too scared of that. But I do a meal prep like once a month, once every 3 weeks or so. With ground beef and sweet potatoes and spinach and ground eggshells, and what else do I put there? Flaxseed. It is a vet approved recipe, so I make that, and she eats about 70-30, like percentage wise. 70% natural, 30% I don't know what you call like dry. We have a word for it here, but it's like a snack, a beastly we call it, but it's just dry food. She does eat that, the most natural kind. That's like first ingredient, high percentage is protein. Fish in this example we're trying. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll kibble. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah, kibble. So yeah, like 30% kibble, 70% natural. I'll probably change it to 80-20, and at some point I'll probably remove it. She does eat a lot of our food, just because the baby eats, things fall on the floor. We eat and we give her from that, so she does get a variety, and we eat okay. We eat decently healthy, so she does get a variety. So I might ditch the kibble. We'll see. Jacqueline, I recently painted 3 sunsets on different paper. It was interesting to see each one coming together. Yeah, it could be nice to just paint a scene with 3 suns. Why not? At the same scene. I mean, but yeah, it's funny. Let's see here. So let's move on to. So okay, so this is a mess. This is my favorite bit. I like the reflection of the building. It was an important part of the painting, and there you have it. I also love this part. I love headlights. Sucker for those. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about them. It's just all these fragmented details that are sometimes hard to capture, but sometimes once you capture them, they look really good. And then the background, I kind of tried letting it paint itself, which I think worked nicely as a support for the car. I've been really enjoying this blue paint that I can also share with you. So this is gouache, actually. I forgot which blue it is, but it's that lilac-y, very soft blue. Alvaro Castanet uses it quite a bit. Not the same paint and brand, but like the same pigment, it seems. And I do want to show you something interesting. So this is an experiment I'm making in painting using a very different technique. I'm not gonna share what it is just yet. I feel like this is just an experiment, obviously, but I feel like I have a lot of things to do till I can share it. When you look at this, you won't even be able to tell. You'll be like, I don't know, it's just a mess. I'm not even sure what I did differently, if at all. I painted this very differently. Like I'm talking completely different, something you haven't seen anywhere, not on YouTube, not on Instagram. No one paints this way. Hopefully I'm hyping it up enough to then never maybe share it. But it's interesting. It's something I'd love to try. So we'll see how it goes. It's very different. Once again, I have a couple more experimentations with it. It's a completely different method. If you open your mind a bit and you try to do things very differently, you might find that you can do so many different things that no one's thought of. That's exactly what I mean when I say find your own solutions to problems. There's a problem I'm dealing with when painting. And hey, Fuse Blower, let me Google this person, Chuck Close. I don't remember who it is. I think I'm familiar, but we'll see. Oh yeah, Chuck Close art. I know that guy. It's actually very interesting art. But yes, so this is it's actually there's a lot of similarities. Funny enough, I see it. Some of these are really like high resolution. It's so cool. So yeah, just looking at now, when I look at art, I kind of get lost, which is the reason we're here, right? But yeah, so I may share more of it. I may end up making this a paid product, funny enough, just to gatekeep it, because when you have something really good and it's still not there, and I don't even know if it'll be there, but when you have something really good, you want people to have skin in the game when they if they want to learn it sometimes. So yeah, though I like sharing stuff for free, so who knows. It's a real problem of mine. I just enjoy putting it all out there, even my best techniques. By the way, I don't know how many people here are not in my courses. I recently added to the Watercolor Realism course a lesson. I talked about it here. It's one of my best processes ever. So check it out if you're not there, especially if you're in the watercolor, in the frustration-free watercolor course, and not in the watercolor realism course. It's the final demo. You want to check it out. But yeah, more on that in the future. I'll develop it. We'll see. I've been dealing with this challenge in painting, and this is a weird technique that can circumvent it completely if it works out, if it ends up working as expected. I still don't know. There are some more problems to solve if I want to use it, but yeah. Well, I teased it too much. Yes, you can imagine all sorts of ways of doing things differently if you just try. Hey, Fiora, how are you doing? Thank you for being here. Hey, Lakshay, I'm going to try and read this again. This is always a challenge. That's definitely a, then that's sa, then that's gato, asagato. I don't even know what that means. Let's see. Asagato meaning. Is that a word? Did I misread it? Asagata. No, not gata. I need asagato. I think. I'm sure the first one is a. Is it ri? Is it arigato? I don't think it's a ri. Oh yeah, it is a ri. It's a sa upside down. Okay, yeah, arigato. I should have guessed. Well, you're welcome. Arigato. Yeah, I kind of forgot my Japanese. Let's see. Ri hiragana. I really forgot it. Yeah, that's not a ri. No, so what is this? What is this mark? It's a chi. Achigato. That's not. Let me confirm now. I'm sorry. I know everyone who's not into Japanese is bored. Yeah, that's a chi. So what is achigato? Probably a mistake, but you're welcome. T Sketches, what's your opinion of Nick Alm's work? Oh, I don't know who that is. Nick Alm Watercolor. Oh, that's nice. Very like classically trained, it appears. But also a lot of interesting looseness. Ooh, who's that? That I know this person. There's a portrait here of someone I know, but I don't remember from where. No, it's beautiful. I wasn't familiar with it, and I'll definitely follow him. I was totally unfamiliar with it. It's really, really good. Really high quality. I would like to see a video. Actually, you know who this reminds me of? This reminds me a bit of if you Google his name, you'll see the paintings. If you're unfamiliar, it reminds me a bit of Dean Mitchell, just a bit. Some of the ones that do have landscape in them. He has an oil, watercolor, and oil. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this one's watercolor or oil, but it kind of reminds me of Dean Mitchell's work in a way. But it's very different. Yeah, this is really good. I will definitely look into this artist. Thank you. What a great find. Thank you. Dwayne, I will be joining the courses soon. Awesome. Thank you. Ri is like, yeah, exactly. That's what it looks like. Yeah, I Googled because I didn't remember. Fiona, what kind of painting are you showing us? So this is just me working on a new technique. I actually have this one show you next. So we talked about the whole, maybe I'm trying out a new technique. Let's look at this one. This is from last week's live stream. Just wanted to show you a better quality scan. I don't remember if I have shown you that. This is definitely my favorite part. You sometimes see this effect. You see how it's like transparent but somewhat opaque drops. You see that a lot with a lot of artists, actually. A lot of Korean artists I see paint this way. It's like splashing opaque paint on the paper, which I think is genius. So yeah, that's something I'll play around with a bit more. I'm showing you a bunch of paintings. Just for those who weren't here, I've shown a bunch of stuff. I've shown this one that you might have seen on Instagram. Night Scene with all its challenges. I showed some of the steps. I shared with you this one, which is a big one for me, like a big achievement, I think. Just having this, knowing this is possible, will definitely lead to more. First wash. And then I showed you this, bit of a messy one. This is Saturday's video, actually. And then I showed you this, working on a completely different way of painting. And lastly, we have this one. Let's leave it up on the screen for a couple of moments. If you have any questions about that, that's the same blue, right? Same blue I showed you in the previous ones. Same blue. Jacqueline, I play a game from Japan and I can't read it, but it translates with a click of a button. Oh, cool. Yeah, I can probably read a lot. It will take me some time to jog my memory, but I still have some of it, I think. I said the exact same thing. He never does tutorials. Yeah, of course. These artists never share how they paint things. They are too busy making amazing art that puts everyone to shame, myself included. So yeah, I'll dive deeper. It's actually interesting. We can do a painting masters on him. That'll be fun. Hunts, for that opaque blob technique, I'm assuming you intentionally let that area dry first. Do you use a blow dryer or anything like that? It has not much to do with whether the area was dry or not, really. You could do this wet and wet too. I think the main thing is it will depend on the pigment. But yes, if you just want a surefire and a hard edge, of course. If you want a hard edge, yes, you'd let this area dry. Now, the way I probably painted this was everything was dry, and then I added it later on. You see, it's this same color, just more diluted. It's this same color. It's all the same color pretty much. Just a bit of maybe a bit more lemon yellow, and then some of it has a bit more phthalo blue, but mostly it's the same color, but the lemon yellow is very opaque. And that's where you get this transparent effect. I don't use a hairdryer, by the way. I just work one area at a time. Mostly, this usually neutralizes the need to do that, especially in live streams. You just kind of paint an area. By the time you move on to another area and finish that, it's dry. Now, for some specific painting processes when there is an initial wash, like this one I showed you, not this one because this is such a long first wash, but something like this, yes, you do need to wait for it to dry and then come back for the second wash. Yes, for sure. When you cover the whole page. But the way I paint, funny enough, is I often don't cover the whole page, and then you never have to wait for anything to dry because things dry just one section at a time. Mark, Dean Mitchell's painting, I find quite creepy. They're beautiful, but spook me out a bit. Really interesting. Some of them are, like some of his portraits are a little spooky, but I don't know why, the way he mixes his colors, but I don't know, not as a whole for sure. I don't think so. But yeah, it's a taste. Someone, I don't remember who it was, commented that all of these highways and cars at night makes them really dizzy, I think, or claustrophobic. So yeah, everyone has a different preference when it comes to these things. Fuse blower, by the way, thank you for being here. Even the Japanese have trouble reading Japanese. They use their phones for kanji. No way, really? Like for maybe really uncommon words, but it sounds strange. I know there's a lot of kanjis, right? There's around 10,000, and every grade you study another set of 1,000 or so, or more than that in later grades. But yeah, that's interesting. People don't have vocabularies in general. People here don't have vocabulary in Hebrew. People in the US don't have vocabularies in English. A lot of words that are just less frequently used, more unknown, more obscure. So I get it. It's every place is like that. I really like this part, the trunk kind of done opaquely, and this bit too, like all of this. Rookie Goosey, have you checked Chris Krupinski's art? I think she might be a nice candidate for painting masters with realism. Let's see. Chris Krupinski. Name rings a bell for sure. Yes, I think I'm familiar with her work. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that could be a good one too. That's really good. I'm looking at blueberries. I like especially. It's really interesting. Yeah, I'll definitely look into that too. I have it all opened up here. I have tons of tabs open after streams just because I learned so much. T, oh my God, if you do a live stream on his work. Yeah, okay, so we can do like a live stream review, almost like we did with Mistleboo. Let me write that down. Let's see here. Nick Alm. I'm writing it down on my trusty note. Yeah, it could be fun. I'll set up my my alarm no matter the time. Wait, so do you mean to live stream his work, right? Not him, because that would be nice too, maybe if it's a good vibe and potential for a conversation. But yeah, hopefully we can do that. A lot of players put symbols in their name. I learned to recognize them by that. Your work is amazing, Liron. You have a different touch. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Polly's arts me no words good. Yep. I know many people. I will say, as I'm getting older, and I'm still young, I guess, but from what I read, my age right now, 35, is the peak of the brain performance. It only goes downhill from now, from what I heard, and you can kind of slow it down. I have been experiencing, it could be the lack of sleep. My short-term memory is terrible in the past 2 months or so. And when I type, I used to be able to type really fast with no mistakes. I now tend to do a lot of inversing 2 letters mistake, like just switching 2 letters. So I'm typing with both my hands, and one of the letters kind of slips in before the other one. That happens to me a lot. I don't know if it's the lack of sleep, being a new dad. I don't know. It could be it. It could just be it's starting. I don't know. I'm not sure. Albano, what's your favorite color? That's a tough one because I love a lot of colors depending on their context, right? Context is, it means a lot. I am a big fan of warms. I really like these kinds of warms, actually. These kinds of milky, peachy, warm colors I've been really enjoying. I've always been a fan of yellows and reds, but in the right context, like this gentle blue is fantastic, so I'm a big fan of primary colors, generally speaking. But if it's contextual, then I really like this green here in this scene in particular, because it's the brightest color. So it really is contextual. Yeah. Jacqueline, yeah, he's really good. And also Chris, I wasn't familiar really with her work, just very on a shallow level. I've seen a couple of her paintings, but I didn't dive deeper. Art Play Breathe, yeah, I think it's called Baby Brain. Definitely could be. Fuse Blower, all the age happens. I remember phone and account numbers from 50 years ago, but can't remember what I did yesterday. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, things just categorize themselves differently in the brain, I guess, too. T-Sketches, no, don't say that. You got to push through. It's all about the mindset. You're a new dad. Don't be hard on yourself. Yeah, for sure. And I think art helps with that. So I think it preserves a lot of the mental capacity. I do believe a lot of this can be neutralized and minimized with, nutrition, probably more than sports even, but sports too. But yeah, who knows? Hopefully it's not the start of the decline. At a short-term memory loss, tell me about it in my 40s. Yeah, I think it just gets worse. Jacqueline, sorry, Josephine. So we have Josephine here too. Lack of sleep made me call things by the wrong name. Like I called the sink the fridge. Oh, that happens to me so much, but only with specific words. But it does happen to me a lot. Or the car, or a table. It was scary, but went away with sleep. New baby, zap your sleep schedule. Yeah, for sure. There's also the name thing, like calling people by the wrong name. Calling the kid the name of your pet. That didn't happen to me, but I've seen it. Yeah, it's funny. Mark, when you say one area at a time, could you explain a little more on that, please? As for aging brain, they are malleable. They need exercise. Yeah, I can definitely explain on that. So let's pivot to that for a second. So let's see here. I'm going to close this for a second. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just show you in a video what I mean one area at a time. So we talked about it in the context of drying time, right? Letting it dry and so on, I think. It's easy to lose track. Again, short-term memory. But let me know if that's what you meant while I pull up a video that will address your question. So let's see. I want like a good example. I want a scene though, like an actual scene. What do I have here that would fit the bill? Actually, this is not a bad one. This is really not a bad one to share. So let me see. I'm gonna share it with you. Share screen, Chrome tab. Okay. So hopefully we don't get an ad. But if you look at this process, what you'll see is I'm working in a very direct approach. Okay. Wait, won't it jump forward? Oh, thank you so much, Jacqueline. Why is it stuck? The video is stuck. Am I imagining things? Okay, there we go. So check it out. So I'm just painting, area by area. And thank you, Jacqueline. Take turns sleeping with you. Yeah. I just want to say how much I enjoy your live videos. Talking with you is like talking to a friend. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, we're friends, so thank you. That's what I'm trying to make this as fun, casual as possible. Rookie Goosey. Sometimes I glaze shadows on my watercolors with indigo. Seems to work, but maybe there are some downsides to that. Would appreciate if you share your thoughts. Oh, it will be very context dependent. It can work for sure. Sorry, let me open it up so we can see. It really depends on the context. Sometimes a blue glaze over a color can really give it depth and richness, right? So it really is a case by case basis. Could definitely work. Now, just to go back to the point from earlier, Mark. So you see, I'm working on areas. I don't need to wait for anything to dry. Remember when I put these lines at the back? Let's go back to see when that was. It was just at some point. This is what I mean when I just paint part by part, and I work very alla prima, so I don't need to wait for anything. So then we jump back forward. This shadowy area, I just go with a much, much stronger color. Well, I'll let it load. It should be super fast. I don't know what's up. I don't know what's up. I'll just jump forward. There we go. And you see, by the time I'm adding these details, things have dried. Now, actually, I'll often be able to paint a wet shape next to a somewhat wet shape without problems, because I'm used to the technique of doing that. So that's another way that you could do this. You're gonna see me painting over the blues in a couple of moments. So you see, I'm just painting the cars over the blues. I'm just painting them into existence. That's how I enjoy painting. If we skip ahead a bit, so check it out, okay? So I'm adding the background here directly, especially when I paint alla prima. That's how I like doing it. And then when it comes time to paint the ground wash, just to make it a little warmer, to kind of anchor it, to give the highlights on the car meaning by darkening the ground, I'm just painting over the blue, and nothing happens. You see, there's no problems because it already was given enough time to dry. And you can see as I scroll down here, right? And look, this area is dry by now, so I can just cover it with a stronger orange to give it more of a punchy look. I'll even fix it with some opaque paint, straighten the shape of the car, because you see the car's a little crooked upwards. Like this side goes too high up. It should end somewhere around here. So, and then if I go forward a bit, you see I'm using opaque paint. I'm kind of jumping in between different colors. I'm going to bring the cars here. No cars, right? And then cars. You see, they just show up. This is one of my favorite things to do, by the way. How do they show up? Just by starting to paint the wash, adding dark, just wet and wet, shadows under the car. The dark paint moves, and then I come back with like, this is red with a bit of opaque paint. Check it out. It's a really beautiful effect. See? And then I come back with some highlights for the top of the car, some cast shadows. You bring things into existence. And yeah, this is how I like to do it. So you say, oh, right, this is how I think of it too. I thought you might meant focus on half the page at a time. Now, I do have examples of this too, Mark, by the way. I definitely have examples of this. Usually it's for larger paintings, but that happens too. And in a way, you could say, up to this point, it's kind of what I'm doing, right? I'm just focusing on the car. I did put some shapes in the back there, but mostly I'm focused on the car. So yeah, that's exactly how I enjoy doing it. It's a very straightforward way of painting, and it does not require you to wait at all, which is, I think, the best part. You just go for it from start to finish and have fun. It's definitely my favorite way of painting, I think. And Tiny Face McGee knows what I'm talking about for sure, of the alla prima thing. What does your plein air setup look like? Chair, easel? I feel so intimidated to plein air, but I want to try. Yeah, there's no intimidation involved really for me. I think you're scared of the unknown, which makes sense. When you're there, things are going to feel very different. My best advice would be just grab everything you think you need, because when you're there, you're going to find like 5 things you forgot. And then you make a note and you remember them for next time, because you're going to forget the water or a pencil or a specific brush you need, specific colors on the palette that you need, and you just brought, your extra palette. You're going to forget paper. Hopefully you don't forget, but like clips just to hold the paper down if it's windy. You're going to forget everything. Now, I don't have a chair. I just have an easel and I stand next to it, and I have a palette that has a ring to put my thumb through so I can hold it up. I have this water cup that I improvise this wire on it that I can hang on my easel. It's not the greatest of setups. I probably need to get something more serious. Something like a suitcase, like Joseph Zbukvich does, I think would be really good. A suitcase works better, I think, because everything is there and it opens into an easel, and you have room to place your palette physically. You don't need to hold it up, which would be a big plus for me, because it is sometimes difficult to hold up the palette and focus on a bunch of stuff. So I'm not like the best example for how to do it, but usually I stand up. I do have a decent easel, US Art Supply it's called. It does change the angle. Not all easels do that, which is strange. But yes, I do have a video on that setup. It's quite outdated by now, the video, but the setup is pretty much the same. So yeah, a lot of the intimidation is just the unknown. Once you're there, you're going to solve your problems. If you forget the water, you can use a fountain or something. If you don't have a fountain, you can sketch instead of paint, feel bad about yourself, and the next time not forget it. The best thing to do, honestly, is to have a go bag, just something that the stuff is always there. I am at fault with this. I have a bag that I empty and then put the stuff back in. So yeah, just giving you some thoughts here, but definitely not the best person to ask about this. Mark, all right, this is how I think of it too. Read that one. Jacqueline, I tell my students to move around the page while waiting for ours to dry. Yeah, that happens often. It's just better. Now, I do, by the way, Mark, I do sometimes use a hair dryer. I used to do that a lot when my go-to would be just to automatically do a first wash. It's no longer the case. I used to do a first wash for everything. If you look at some of the older live streams where I painted or videos, I always started with a an underpainting, and then you always have to dry it. But as time progresses, I don't do this as much. I don't know why. It's not for the sake of not doing it. It's not for the sake of experimentation. I just enjoy painting in different ways. You got it. Jacqueline, I want to help my students not overwork their paintings. How do I do that? And myself sometimes. I think one of the best ways is, if you really want to be mean, have a large water sprayer, and if you see them getting too bogged down in details, just spray a ton of water on their painting, ruin everything, smear everything with the water. Everything will just spread out together, and then look at their miserable faces as they wonder how they'll proceed with the painting. That's my advice. No, but seriously, I think that's actually a good idea. Just have them spray on the painting, see how everything moves, and challenge them to take it from there and see what happens. Because usually it leads to actually thinking on your feet. I talk exactly about this on Saturday's video. So watch that one. It will address that, focusing just on what I'm currently painting without worrying about the rest is also a big part of it. And I talk about that in detail. But yeah, some of it does come just with time and experience, of course. I want to start a Plein Air group. It's hot outside, so I don't know what time we should meet, 7 p.m. or 7 a.m. Yeah, these are just the edges. The only two options. Yeah, I think 10 a.m. is good for most places. 9 a.m., 10 a.m. is best. Or you could do depending on, again, where you are, 3, 4 p.m. could work too. You don't want to go too late, of course, because then there's no light. You don't want to go too early because people are asleep, but yes, or getting ready, they'll be late, Fuse blower, some use a camera tripod and attach a board on it. Yeah, that's a great improvisation because camera tripods tend to have better functionality, ironically enough. So yeah. Josephine, I Plein Air paint a lot, and I keep a checklist with my stuff. Yeah, that's important, actually. I used to have a checklist too. I'll just mark everything down. I took this, I took that. Yeah, it's funny. You just reminded me. I used to do that. But then I stopped doing it on a regular basis. And, Jacqueline, I have a portable projector table, but haven't gone anywhere with it. Yeah, that's too much. I think for Plein Air, it's too much. Oh, the checklist because your brain turned 60 this year. That's crazy. Congratulations, big 60. Yeah, that's funny. I'll tell them you said to do that. Yeah, I wanna see their faces. You should film the whole thing. Don't, but it's funny. Let me know what they say. Mark, our group meets at 2 p.m. UK. Painting in the rain. Yeah, so UK you can pretty much just just don't go too late because then there's zero light for sure. But there's something fun about painting in the rain, I think, because I'm so not used to it. It's just a different experience. So it could be interesting. Yes, film it. Yeah, I think in terms of paintings, this is pretty much it. If you have watched the process, it's interesting. One more thing I enjoy, and you have seen it in the process I just showed you, is to just use white, wet and wet. I just like to throw it in there. Like this, you see as white gouache, wet and wet. This is a mix of white and blue gouache, wet and wet. This here, this here. I think most people saw the video, so you saw it in action. I don't know, why not? Why not just use whatever tools at your disposal? Ray Balkwill, great artist. I did a painting masters on years back, and he does mixed like graphite and acrylics and watercolor, and I think gouache too. It looks so good. Actually, let me show you. I think I've shown him a couple of times before. Ray Balkwill. There are a couple of paintings he did that I find. This is a good one. The first one I found is a really good one. Paintings. Ray Balkwill paintings. Present. I'm gonna share this one. So check it out. This is a Ray Balkwill. I know the quality isn't perfect. Let me show you another one here for a sec. Let me show you the search results. That'll be easier. Just one moment. Yeah, so check it out. I don't know. They changed the interface and now it's annoying. It's small pictures. But yeah, like really fantastic work. Can I open this image in this tab? That'll be great. It'll force me to open a new tab. But in any case, you can see some of the details, hopefully. Really good painter. Great kind of perception. Oh, I think he may use pastels too. You see around here how it's fuzzy. It's funny. It almost looks like digital art in a way, because digital artists use a lot of these brush effects, dry brush effects. But yeah, really interesting work. Now, just to show you, Nick Alms, while we're at it, looking at some artists, let's do this. Like really crazy. So you get stuff like this, very like it's obvious this person is really trained too, like recognition of the different types of shadows. But then you get like stuff like this that are a little more daring that I like, or stuff like this. Like, look at the hair here. This is insanely good. Who's this? I recognize this person. I don't know where from. And then you get these. This was another one that really jumped at me. This was the one I wasn't sure if it's oils or watercolor. It does say painting, watercolor, and oils. I mean, it has both, the gallery. Could it be him? Is this a self-portrait? I'm not sure. This one too. This is crazy good. So yeah, really, really good stuff. And then we had one more. So we did talk about Chris Krapinski. Let's show all of them, because I was just kind of talking and looking at it myself. So there you go. I was definitely familiar with her work. This one, to me, is my favorite from this page, I think. You see this reflected light here? This is so cool. We talked about this in the reflected light video. Just the orange from the orange on this. The blueberries look really, really interesting, you know. Interesting. You say that Nick has said that he has struggles with watercolor more than oils, that he's thrown away many watercolor paintings and we're seeing his best works. Interesting, because the way I would look at it, I would imagine it's a pretty consistent artist in terms of results, even in watercolor. Interesting. You know, when you look at some of these works, it's like to produce something like this, I wouldn't have imagined necessarily the artist ends up throwing away a lot of stuff. But you never know. You really never know. This is really good. I'm obviously enjoying the watercolors more. I don't know, it's more of my jam. This is really, really good. Would love to see a video. I wonder if there is one maybe on Instagram. We can look for it later. Yeah, he doesn't, unfortunately. The cliff with the ocean's beautiful. Ray Bulkwill, I believe it was. Let's see. Ray Bulkwill. I think it's the it wasn't the related, or where was it lower down? I don't remember where it was. It's like, oh yeah, this one. Yeah, this is really interesting. No, but he has a lot of spectacular work. Some that are looser, as you can see here. Some that are a little more, you see, like really inventive with the effects and then some that are a little more detailed and a little more careful. But just I've been enjoying his paintings for years now. I think I even did a study of this thing somewhere. Look at the reflections. This is so good. Let me let's look at the image zoomed in. I have to look at it zoomed in. This one in particular is good. I think I shared it on the Painting Masters episode. Look at this thing. The reflections too, it's just really good. And a lot of it is kind of abstract. Like look at this reflection. It's a yellow because it's the sand or something, or it's not yellow here, right? Same here. It's kind of a brown. It's blue here. I don't know, I love these splashes. He's one of my favorites, really. I think he's one of these painters I've been looking at for years and just consistently enjoying the paintings. And he has a lot. He has a large body of work. It's never ending. One thing I am missing, if you can call it that, is just some more flow. And like I would love to see this melt more, just because that's what I like to do. But for his art, it's just beautiful. And look at how it just goes to show you can go quite worked, not overworked, but worked on details. Like look at the water here. So many different. There's these yellows and these teal, or maybe not turquoise. Kind of cyan type blues and greens, and it all works together, and purples. That's where the transition from water to sand is. It's very often it's going to be a little violety, and it just works. It just looks good. It makes me want to paint. I look at these paintings, it makes me want to paint. But yeah, I've gone through a lot of in detail here, a bit of an in detail review. Hey Pierre, by the way, thank you for being here. Hope you're doing well. So let's see. Jacqueline, I only have piles of paintings. None go in the trash. Yes, I barely throw anything away too. His advice in one of his interviews was to not paint by numbers and to have a looser approach to watercolors. Yeah, you kind of... I'm writing that watercolor book. It's going to come at some point. I'm going to talk about all of these things. I will. It's just watercolor is so misunderstood by pretty much everyone, myself included. There's a lot I don't understand yet about watercolor. So I'm going to talk about these things in detail. Yeah, definitely. He does everything. That's what I said. He does watercolor and acrylics and graphite sometimes and pastels sometimes for the dry kind of texture thing. Loves everything. Yep. I feel the exact same way. you want to check out the Painting Masters episode I did of his. I think there is an old one. It's really interesting. Look at this cliff, just gray, right? Maybe a little bit of violety, and then boom, brown. Looks so good, you know. Mark, sometimes I think an artist can articulate something in their work that was more unconscious. They might not like that, as it wasn't what they were going for. It's a shame when paintings get thrown away. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's something I'm aware of, that maybe something in the painting that I wasn't intending to include just showed up there. Mm, I think the sense of like what's good and what's not develops in you, and then you just, it's super subjective, and you, that's the only way to do it. um i don't find that I don't find that very often there is a very strong detachment between the actual quality of the art and what the artist perceives. I find that there it is correlated. The artist is usually, it it tends to be quite accurate in their perception. What I mean is, like, if I painted something that's like a 9 out of 10, it's crazy good, I probably won't perceive it as a 6. I may perceive it as an 8, as a 7, is what I mean, right? Now, I'm just throwing numbers at you, but hopefully you know what I mean. The gap usually isn't that big in perception and actual result. Sometimes, on rare occasions, you paint something that everyone just loves and you have no idea why. That happens to me too from time to time. And very often, the paintings of my own, of myself, that I appreciate the most aren't the ones that are the most appreciated by others. That does happen. Um, so yeah, it's an interesting thing. I try not to throw away anything unless, if it's now a couple of years old and I see it and I still think, yeah, it belongs in the trash, then yeah, I may get rid of it, turn it into test paper, whatever. Um, but unless that's the case, I'll keep it. I actually have a lot of paintings from YouTube demos and paintings that are just small scribbles and attempt. I'm playing around with the idea, if I do end up doing a new Patreon tier that will have also critiques in it. It will be a different product, but some version of critiques. I'm toying around with the idea of throwing, like, actually sending everyone a painting like once a year, and just as a sketch, like a signed sketch. That could be fun because I have so many of these. It could probably last me for a year or 2 or 3, depending on how many people will join that tier. But it could be an interesting thing. I don't know if people would be interested in that. It's just to get a scribble, right? Like a little scribble of something I painted for a video or for a live stream. But it could be fun. Timeface McGee, I'm so excited for your watercolor book. Yeah, a lot of people wait for it. Hopefully, you won't be disappointed, because it's not going to be like, here are all my tools. Here's all the techniques I use. It's going to be a little more heady, but it will for sure have a lot of paintings, for sure. T-Sketches, I was about to say, similar to what you keep saying about paintings too. I'm excited for your book. Thank you so much. Yeah, I need to put some more gas behind, push the gas pedal harder on that project. Jacqueline Lolly asked me too. I think it's okay, but everyone loves it. Yep, that happens. That happens. Tear it up for mixed media piece. Yep, recycle the paper. T-Sketches, I keep all my sketches and paintings, like a little archive of my lifetime on here. Yeah, that's really cool. I think sometimes if you don't know what to do with them, you could probably, not you specifically, but a lot of people comment, myself included, like, you could put them in an album or somehow preserve them in one place so that it's not just tons of loose pieces of paper. If you do work a lot in sketchbooks, it's not a problem, but I have so many just loose pieces of paper just up there in the closet. I just put, a few days ago, I took all of them because we had a cleaning lady come here. I took all of the house was a disaster. I took all of them, put it in the closet, just stuck it there. And it's like, I don't know, tens of pieces of paper with random small sketches on them. Mark, this is what I mean. When people love ones you're not fussed about, and when hindsight comes, you might come around to see what others did. Yeah, that's true. And it definitely happens to me that when by the way, let's try this thing here. It definitely happens to me that I will work on a painting, I'll finish it. I won't like it as much. I mean, I won't hate it, but I won't like it as much. And what ends up happening is after a week or two, a month or two, even a year later, I'll look at it and I'll realize how good it actually is. Like, I'll figure out, okay, there is something special here, that just upon completion you don't see. That actually happens. So yeah, I think it's to err on the side of caution. It's best at least not to throw something for a year or two. Tiny Face McGee, I like heady books. I love art theory. We need more intermediate watercolor books. They are all for beginners. Yeah, I really appreciate you saying that, and actually that alone confirms my thesis / hope that there will be an audience for this book. I was kind of worried, but you saying that actually means a lot to me. So great. So it's actually good to hear. Thank you. Yeah, most information out there is for beginners. There's no way around it. It makes sense. It's the biggest demand. The videos I make that are a little more advanced, right, Jacqueline? Yeah. It's I try to do some stuff that is not 100 pages about color mixing exactly fuse blur. Yeah, that for sure I'm not gonna do. Look at this cute section here, by the way, right down here. This is so good. Yeah, that's for sure. So I don't know, something for the intermediate there. Advanced maybe too much for most people, but intermediate, a lot of people also don't know they have intermediate issues. Even if they feel like a beginner, sometimes I feel like a beginner. The issue you're running into is actually quite intermediate. And when you see intermediate, a video that's intermediate level, or a tutorial, or even a book, that's the thing that ends up helping you. So yeah, for sure, that actually strengthens my resolve. Thank you for that. So yeah, I think that's a good point to start winding down this stream. We've been going for about an hour and a half. Cool. Yeah, time flies. I have some plans. That's why I gotta do some more work before the plans. So yeah, I want to thank you so much, and I will remind you that there is a book already in existence. It's this one, Painting a Masterpiece. If you do want just to have 100 of my car paintings that showcase, and this is again one of my it's this side. This is one of my best videos processes ever. You can see the painting here, and you can see the video in the Watercolor Realism course, the video of how I painted this thing. Kind of realism with a loose twist. I painted this with no pencil lines, just middle out. But yeah, people have been saying a lot of good things about this book. So if you are interested in the art, would really appreciate if you check it out. Means a lot to me. It's a really personal project. It's my product that I make the least amount of money on because it's so expensive printing stuff. But yeah, Josephine, a friend of mine who does a lot of practice. Yeah, let me get rid of this. I'll just showcase your comments. A friend of mine who does a lot of practice paintings will cut them up into bookmarks. Yeah, sign them and hand them out at art shows. That's a great idea. That's a really good idea. Especially if you're an artist that goes to a lot of conventions and art shows, art fairs. It's actually a great idea. I won't cut mine unless it makes sense, because it won't be as a bookmark, because there is something actually painted on it. But yes, color matching or swatching. Color matching I will talk about, because that has to do with perception. That's something I'll definitely address, I think. I have the structure of the book. I have the introduction pretty down, but the content is still, I have a lot of work to do. I have to meet friends for coffee and crafting. Oh, awesome. Yes, enjoy it. Yeah, I think this is the time when people start their days anyway. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate that. We can probably end it on the note of this one, I think this is a good one to have here while I wrap it up. I don't know. This is just a big one for me. It's definitely one of my best works from 2025. So it's for sure you're going to see more of it. Thank you, Woozy. By the way, is this the first time I see you on the stream? I don't remember. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you, Laura, for being here. T, thank you so much. Hopefully I remembered correctly, and it is Tia, not Tia. Just making sure, just throwing it there, because I remember we talked about it a while back. Thank you for the great recommendation, by the way. I will definitely do either a painting masters or maybe a live stream. We'll see. Thank you, Mark, for being here. Tiny Face McGee, Fuse Blower, Josephine. Really appreciate everyone here. No worries, Marjorie. Yeah, sorry about that. We're just wrapping up. My apologies. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. Always been here, but lurking. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. That's fun. I know there's a lot of lurkers. Casey, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Tambo, thank you. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you again soon. Have a wonderful weekend too. Keep an eye out for Saturday's video. Thank you, Jan's Art. Really appreciate it. It's going to be a good one. I think it's going to be a useful one. The result is definitely not as good as this thing, but you'll enjoy the process. So thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. Till next time.